Well, all right. And welcome back to another exciting episode of the Planet Gen X podcast. I'm Sean. That over there is Brian. And ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest we've been trying to get on the channel for over a year now. And that is our good friend, Jay.
Hey.
We talk about him all the time. How you doing, Jay?
Good. You?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here. So before we get into things and get into the nitty gritty, we are. I got to ask you guys to please hit that subscribe button. Give us a like.
Give us
Leave a comment, something like that. You know how it goes, man. It's totally free to subscribe. So please don't hesitate. Just do it for us. It really helps us out a lot. Thank you guys so much. Well, all right. So here we are for the recap, review. What's the other one? I always forget the third one.
Reaction.
That's it. Yeah. To Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, Episode 7. And Brian, what, pray tell, is
Would be the episode name?
Yes.
You need some help on the name? It would be Eriga.
Eriga. That is correct. Yes, indeed. So, kicking it off, we begin with the ship that Maul and Locke stole. We see it kind of sitting outside some other ships or whatever. Discovery warps in, and we see Burnham walking and talking with Commander Nhan. Y'all remember Nhan? She's that. I do not like this character. She's a very bitchy, matter-of-fact security Nazi.
We got a lot of characters you don't like in this show.
Well, I mean, yeah. It goes without saying, this show is the worst Star Trek ever made. So, and most of the characters in it. But they're about to leave and find Locke and Maul, and they see Booker, and Burnham says that he's not supposed to be there. He tries to make a case for himself, but Nhan's not having it. And finally, Burnham just like takes up for him, and Nhan only gives in a little and says, "Okay, well, you can help us with this, but wait over there." So they beam Locke straight to a biobed, and Maul next to him. And Dr. Culber does his little thing, and Culber doesn't think he can do anything for Locke. And he comes up with this most convoluted plan to make a Breen biobed. Did you think that was convoluted?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of felt like he was saying the same thing over and over to me, like in this part and the later part where he's talking about it, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Just a lot of whatever.
Yeah.
It was just a little too convoluted for me. So they jump back to Fed HQ. Burnham meets with Vance and tells her the Breen are coming. Locke and Maul will stay with Discovery. Because she's like they're talking about how, why don't we just, or he's like, you just take them and run, go. She's like, it probably ain't going to work so well. We're going to eventually have to cross this bridge. So why don't we just stay and handle our business? And that's what they ultimately decide to do.
I don't know. Devil's advocate here, they do have the spore drive.
Yeah, they do. But it seems like eventually there would be something that would happen. They would lose their head start somehow, whatever. Something would happen with the spore drive and they'd be caught looking, whatever.
Oh yeah, the writers would have to write that in, wouldn't they?
Yeah, no doubt. So here we get the title sequence, and while we're getting the title sequence, Jay. Jesus Christ. Right off the bat. I have to edit that out.
It's okay.
Let me ask you, what you think of Discovery?
Overall?
Yeah. I mean, like, when Discovery first came out, a lot of Star Trek has growing pains the first season or two.
Yeah.
Just overall opinion. I know for me, the first two seasons really blew. They started finding their footing a little better, and it didn't really get better until they went into the future. So,
wow. Yeah, I didn't care for the pre-season non-canon stuff. I liked it when we got past when we got to the future, when we, surfing the Enterprise, though, that was something. That was that's what I said. I was looking at it like, she's surfing the Enterprise. What's going on here? At warp, full speed, burn them. Yeah, I'm like, really? And her mom too. At the time. So I mean, there's some crazy stuff, but I was very happy with it when they left canon. When they left canon alone and
Yeah.
jumped out, and it was an improvement over, what was, to me, it was like gut wrenching every time they broke canon. I was like, oh, come on, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Every time I
Yep.
turned around.
Mhm.
But once we got to the future, I was better off. I was like, oh, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
But yes, I prefer it now more than I did in the beginning. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I always maintained that they should have done, with with Enterprise, we saw a future of Star Trek in the 29th century, the Enterprise J. And I always thought, well, why not go to the 29th century and let's explore that? There's a little seed of it already, so let's go there. And they essentially did that, but they just went a little beyond it, to the 32nd century. So I'm glad it's out there and in the future and away from canon, like you said, because they mess with stuff way too much.
Right. And I appreciate the other show,
Oh, yes.
Strange
much more when
Yes.
they leave the canon alone. I was like, thank you so much. It made me have a heavy appreciation for the other,
Yeah, Strange New Worlds.
Is it Strange New World? Yeah.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds is fantastic, man. It's really good. It's like what Star Trek was meant to be like and has always been up until Discovery came around.
Right.
And I guess that's it, man. That Discovery just doesn't fit the mold.
No,
I would
it's
say
different.
that this fits the mold better than some others. Than like, for all its merits and everything that it was, DS9 deserves its special place. But to me, it doesn't fit quite as well into the classic TOS and TNG as Strange New does to me. Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
It's got that specific feel, but again, it's not, a space opera on a platform.
Right. Well, let me get back to my place here. Yeah, so President Tarina, Vance, Burnham, and Rayner all sit down to figure out how to deal with the Breen. And Burnham suggests there might be another reason the Breen want Locke and Maul besides the Aragog. Funny how she's always, that's one thing I have a problem with her too. She always seems to know shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think back to last episode with that stupid console.
Yeah.
She sees this fucking shroomage out here that's got some radiation coloring change, and she makes that leap.
Random ideas that just happen to be right.
Right. I mean, but yeah, they almost make her somewhat clairvoyant, it seems. It's a little annoying. A lot annoying. What am I saying? Yeah. So Burnham suggests that there I already said that. They decide they need more information, and Burnham thinks that they can get it from Locke and Maul. So Culber's contraption that he put together seems to be helping Locke. So Burnham uses that moment to question Locke and Maul. She finds out that Locke is a direct descendant of the Emperor and the scion of the Breen Imperium.
Convoluted thing.
What's that?
Through a very convoluted procedure.
Yeah. No doubt.
Sorry.
So yeah, big deal there, huh? Did you see that coming or not?
What, that she was going to figure it out?
No. That he was royalty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty much already implied with the
Well, I
whole
mean, we
Nancy
knew
thing.
he was he was related to the dude. So, yeah. Tilly and Tao are working with Zora on the clue. And I only bring this up because, of course, they get all sappy in this moment. It's like you can't put these two together without having that moment. Again, another strike against Discovery. And they just can't help themselves, these writers. They need to find an ancient manuscript called The Labyrinths of the Mind. And the only person in all of the Federation that is an expert in ancient manuscripts is Commander Reno. Again, I'm like, what, dude, really? Again, with just all the people in all the universe in all of Star Trek, and Commander Reno's happens to be the person. Can't be somebody else in another place, just happens to be on that ship. That bothers the hell out of me. And,
Right.
I was thinking, was Brian onto something? Was a couple, 2 or 3 episodes ago when you were talking
while
about, being her way older
More than
maybe-
meets the eye. Kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
I suggested maybe kind of like a Guinan or something like that. Turns out she just padded her resume and she just used it to move hard to find folios for a shady antiquarian archivist. And it seems that she had quite a few jobs, didn't she, Brian? I wonder if she had if it's possible for them to have ADHD in the future, considering, I mean, they should be able to cure anything, right?
Well, maybe it's a thing where they live in a culture and society where ADHD may not be quite as much of a hindrance, right?
Yeah.
They live where you don't have to work a 9 to 5, right? They pretty much established that.
Yeah. She obviously gets bored easily, though.
Right. So people are doing things that they're interested in, and if your interests change a lot, maybe in the future there's technology and systems and populace, differences on different worlds that make all of that possible to where you could, fulfill your dreams of studying life forms on some planet in another system. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Breen arrived, and god damn, that's a big ship. Big fucking ship. Turns out it's the same ship from the future time cycle that we saw destroy the Federation headquarters in an earlier episode. Quite a few episodes back when it was at the very beginning of the season. The Breen gave them 1 hour to deliver Lock and Maul. And here we go with the rider devices again. You have 1 hour. There's a lot of that. We get the 1 hour, the 5 minutes, quite a lot of that in this right from here
24 hours.
You have no time left. That's the the thing with TV. They like to do these real time shows and stuff like that, like 24.
Mm-hmm.
So the writers have no idea what to do with Booker. So he begs Stamets to let him help him with the clue. Man, didn't that seem pathetic? And I mean, I was sitting there thinking, what are they like? Why is Booker even around anymore? Because they just don't know what the fuck to do with it.
I don't know. Sometimes I look at shows kind of like a D&D campaign. Like, somebody went into like a writer's room with grabbing ideas from like D&D campaigns. And this would be one of those where like he's the rogue, right? He has like a high intelligence and like exposure to all this cultural stuff and whatnot.
Yeah,
so theoretically he would fit into this field on a hinge thing because he would get a bonus on his end.
Right.
That's the only way I really look at it.
Do you agree with that, Joel?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, you're talking about something that I believe that's not the worst thing Discovery has going for it, but the writers are pretty rough. I mean, there's stuff in there that I was taught in college not to deal with some of these things with continuity. And I can't explain it better than using this show as an example of what not to do. A couple episodes back, we had this point to where they had to rely on the view screen to see into a piece of space that didn't show up a thing. There was nothing that they couldn't see it, right?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, my brain immediately snapped to Star Trek TNG, Guinan. And when you said Guinan, it clicked and it knocked a bell in my head. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Big deal. That's continuity problems because it wasn't the main deck and the bridge and Picard that was having problems with the Borg. They didn't even know who the Borg was. It was Guinan looking out the freaking window, which was not a view screen, seeing the cube going, holy crap, that's the Borg.
Yeah.
And say, Captain, blah, blah, blah. The writers were snappy. They knew what the hell was going on. A couple of episodes back in Discovery, continuity's blown. They can't see out the front view screen. Nobody is in their 10 forward, which has fireplaces in it, windows, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And they even break their own rules by the end of the episode. You see a starship flying by in their 10, I don't know what to call their 10 forward, but it's their bar. You see that they have regular normal windows, and they've brought that Enterprise back from the mirror universe, and they're looking at that thing, that mirror universe Enterprise coming out of that wormhole, at the end of the episode, but at the beginning of the episode, if you watch it, you'll catch a continuity error with the writing. And I've seen this over and over and over, repetitive as all get out. I'm like, guys, like I said, back in my day, you're teaching people in college. Here's continuity. Even when you put makeup on, they would take a Polaroid snapshot of what's going on, what you look like, how the blood was on your face, what shirt you had on, blah, 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 over and over. These guys, they don't give a rat's about any of this. These writers could not care about the continuity, and I'll forgive it if this is the case. It's the editor's fault, and somebody left the scene that connects the two or the A to B. We never see. We only go to C. And we go straight to C. We go A to C. We don't see B. There's nothing we can do. We can't see it. We can't. It's not tangible. It's not something we hear. It's not something we see on screen. The actors don't even remember it. These could be lines we're totally missing, and I would forgive that, except, like I said a couple episodes ago, they started out with the main view screen doesn't work. They can't see the wormhole in space that leads to the mirror universe. And I'm like, somebody go to 10 forward and look out the freaking window, please.
Yeah, let's just call it Reds. Go to Reds and look out the window.
Yeah, please just go to the window. You got this fancy bar. It's got beautiful windows. Look out it. And let can you press your comm unit or swipe your hand up in the air and use some of that technology to go back to the basics. Call somebody in 10 forward who's serving a freaking Romulan ale and find out if he can see out the freaking window. To me, this is the stuff you're talking about. It doesn't surprise me at all. It is the writing. I believe it's the writing and the writer's fault that you're entering
complained over and over
these problems.
Yeah. I mean, you if you watch these this whole run, that's all we've been talking about. I constantly put little notes about writer device, or just it might as well be writer to fuck up too, because when you're using these devices, you're overusing them. These are things that you should use sparingly, and I always compare it to a chef. You want just the right amount of ingredients.
Well, I mean, editing, filming, directing, everything is a class. Continuity is a class in film school. It is something that you will go through. They even teach continuity in theater because they want you to look the same in theater. Which prop did you have in this scene? The props master on the theater stage. Well, no, they've got a picture there going, he was dressed in this toga with this spear, blah, blah, blah. This is going on. This is why this is happening. But
you talk about the Polaroid. It made me think of the old behind the scenes of Return of the Jedi when 3PO has the green shit on his head and she's in there taking a Polaroid of him. Because they want to make sure that when they reapply it, it looks exactly like it did before.
Yeah, it's a given that they don't shoot things in order. That is a given because
absolutely
they don't want to. If there's a sparks on the set or a hazard or if pyrotechnics are used or something like that, they usually save that to the end. They don't do it at the beginning. They do all the scenes without the pyrotechnics, without the danger to other people. Then when they go to the pyrotechnic scenes, they get the stunt doubles in if they have to. They get people that only have to be there on the set. They destroy the what do you call it? The LCOMs, whatever the panels, they'll destroy certain pieces of the bridge.
LCARs.
LCARs, that's what it is. Yeah. So then they'll destroy, those in certain orders where hopefully nobody's, subject to getting harmed. I mean, they do everything like they do on purpose. This show is chaos to me.
Yeah,
it's chaos. They're
flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, it's like, what did we do yesterday? I don't know, man. Let's shoot this way. Okay, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, you can go back and look at season 1 into season 2. Remember, they fired almost everybody after season 1.
Yeah,
and it helped, but it also didn't fix everything because like everything Joel just said is absolutely 100% true.
Yeah, I mean it's visible. You can see it.
Yeah, no doubt. So Burnham goes to Raynor for answers because apparently he the whole time we can see on his face. I didn't think it sold that well. When they went to Raynor for answers, I was like, why?
And then, I got to admit that myself. It's like I'm not exactly on with this, on board with how he is being presented,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
it's lackluster. It's kind of blasé, right? Almost.
It's really weird, the whole
Yeah.
thing. So Kelleran apparently used to be used as a Marine outpost for years. So that gives him an understanding into the Marine that few do, because they're very secretive, those guys. We've already talked about that. He tells her the Marine cannot be negotiated with when they want something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not entirely true. Well, I guess it is true, because they still want something in the end here.
Well, I mean, in his experience, it has been true, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, am I the only one not buying a character here? That's what you were saying, right? Is that
Right,
all about this?
Yeah. I mean, this guy is like an old battle axe. He knows what has gone on with the Breen and that outpost and Kelleran and his history throughout all this. He's going on saying like genocide is a way of life, their version of a prime directive, blah blah blah, and then like that's virtually all we ever hear of it.
Yeah. So Tilly and Tao are after trying to figure out this labyrinth of the whatever deal that manuscript they're looking for.
Yeah.
And they ask Reno about it, and she suggests that they go to the archives. Duh. Would that not have been, I mean, just since we got two people here finally, I can ask, would that not have been the first place that any of y'all would have looked if y'all were on board the Discovery as a crew member and were given a task to find a manuscript?
Whether I'm in Star Trek or Star Wars, I'm checking the hollows first.
Going to the archives.
Yeah.
Joel?
Oh, yeah. But you just triggered like a Star Wars moment with that dagger, holding it up in the air and locating. I mean, dude, my brain is just, I can say so much. I don't want to say that much because it would take up too much of your time. But yes,
yeah, we don't want to digress, but I tell you what.
That's not.
Yeah, we're having Joel back for the podcast, and we'll be able to digress all we want to there. So
right.
Yeah, we'll stick to the point here, but we'll definitely want to hear all you have to say and more in the months to come. Yeah. So Locke and Maul plot an escape for Maul, and Burnham, Vance, and Tarina confront the Breen. They do a little bluff, and it starts to work. Back in sickbay, Locke and Maul engage their plan, and how dumb are these fucking two guards to fall for this shit, and how much of a heads up they had before a handcuffed girl who is now suddenly unhandcuffed. I didn't see that either.
Right.
Gets over on them. I mean, Culber was more effective, and he's a freaking doctor.
Yeah.
These guys are not just security guys. They're special security guys. I don't know. That one really, really bothered me. It's like, I don't know. I just don't see how the hell with that much. It seemed like she was in slow motion. It seemed like there was so much time before she ran up and attacked anybody.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy was like across the room, and it would have just been like, bang. Right?
Whoa, yeah. I mean, dude, I was like, what is going on here? This is crazy. She's moving like a snail. But yeah, whatever. I mean, how much can you just bitch about the same stuff?
Right.
How funny would it have been to seeing him get backhanded and do a high-pitched yell and fall down or something?
That was my thought. That was my sexist comment for this one. I still think that would have been funny, even though it's not PC anymore, right?
Right.
They couldn't write that in. It doesn't fit, and it does. But I think a lot of us would have laughed if we would have seen that. Right? I just fall out of the scene.
Yeah. So they end up making a deal with the Breen, but the Primarch says that no harm must befall Locke. And as soon as he says that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they have no idea what's going on.
Wow.
And that's just
exactly where this
writing.
episode is going now, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just bad writing too. It's like, come on, how much on the nose can you be? while he's in Federation custody, no harm can befall him. And Tarina swears by it. And so Culber tells Burnham they need a Breen medic, and she says she'll get one from the Primarch. And Stamets is like a dog with a bone with this freaking clue, right? We end up back with him, dude, and everybody keeps trying to do something. Like Tilly wants to go off to the cadets, and he pulls her back in early in the episode. No, you must work on the clue. And now Booker wants to go run off to talk to Maul or whatever, and he's like, "No, you must stay with the clue." Yeah, I mean, damn, dog with a bone, man. So he starts to reckon that an empath can figure out what this little Betazoid thing is. Boy, it took him all that time to think of that one, and Booker happens to be an empath. So they finally thought of some use for Booker. That literally has got to be the only reason he's in this episode.
See, I don't know. I've always had an issue with their whole thing with empaths and telepaths, and like, just I don't know. I've never understood it. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me that you can get like emotions but not thoughts when you're,
yeah,
and somehow that ties you to a telepath. I don't get it. It's not the same to me.
Yeah, empathy and telepathy are so different.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, because most people have the capacity to be empathetic,
right?
And feel it from other people, and not be psychic. I don't know. Weird. So the Primarch brings his medic. For all the good it does. Non and Booker go to get Maul, and Booker talks her down, talks Maul down, gets her to calm the fuck down. They all gather in sickbay watching Locke die, because that's what Book tells them. Hey, he's dying. You better go say goodbye while you can. Locke dies, and
I'm not sure if they really drop it here, but they dropped it before, I think, at some point. Talking about the progenitors tag.
Yeah, I feel like that because they did drop, like you're saying, the fact that the progenitors tech can not only destroy life. It was in this episode. Can only destroy life, but can bring life back.
Right.
And so the thing that popped in my mind: are we going to see Locke brought back to life?
Right.
And I think that's probably highly likely. Joel, what do you think about? You think that's likely?
Well, I'm still dwelling on the telepathy. Yes. I mean, anytime you see anything like that, where we go into, what do you call it? Foreshadowing? I guess it's what it is. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's still lazy. It's not great, man. It's still lazy. It's still lazy writing. I mean, it's we get it, and sometimes that's why we. I hate bringing up other movies. It's like name dropping. You watch a James Bond movie, you get a huge action sequence in the first 2-3 minutes. It's about foreshadowing, telling you what's fixing to go on somewhere in the movie. This used to happen in Star Trek. We had Captain Kirk, Spock, McCoy, row your boat, and the captain climbing his mountain. And this was the very beginning, and they were about to be called back. This is not lazy writing. This is good foreshadow moments that you're going to get that are, I don't know how to explain it, just deserved once you get to the point. You know what I mean? What you're watching and what you're
pull things together.
Yes, it's not a threaded thing, and you're absolutely on the thimble. I mean, you got things there, but nobody's sewing. I mean, the stuff is not coming together, man. You may be trying to make a scarf, but whoo, it's just not happening. I totally, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that was the thing for me. Like this was supposed to be like a heavy scene, right? It's obviously like he's dead, big deal. Like we're supposed to care. I didn't care.
Right. Yeah, I didn't care either. But again, like I guess we kind of feel, at least for me, I feel like he's coming back anyway, so that just makes me care less.
Right.
It's like, well, nothing's going to happen to him. But yeah, he dies. Shit hits the fan, and it's a Mexican standoff. We got the ships just staring at each other now. And when Maul shows the Primarch, the mark that she and Locke are bonded, Joel hadn't seen the episode, but like the mark, they have like a.
Trust me, it's okay. I will. And,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's like some kind of mark that they both have that kind of denotes that they're together or whatever.
Right.
It looks like a brand. It's like raised skin rather than a tattoo.
Great.
Yeah. So this means that they,
As
they're
a matter of
bonded.
fact, it's a common symbol that we've seen recently in other stuff. It's like that spiral. It's been in a couple of other things recently.
How
anyway.
amazing. Discovery being unoriginal?
That never happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this means the Primarch is obligated to take Maul with him. And she tells the Primarch that the Federation is hiding the progenitor tech and that she can get it for the Primarch if she takes her with him. He gives Burnham 5 minutes to get Maul on his ship. And 5 minutes, and somehow they managed to gather in the meeting hall Burnham, Booker, Vance, Rayner, Non, and Tarina to decide what to do with Maul. This is
an interesting thing to me. Something we have never seen in TOS, TNG, DS9. I don't think I've seen it in any of the IP. We never see the military hustle. You know what I'm talking about. When you're in formation, when you're going from point A to point B in formation.
Yeah.
Don't see it in any of it.
And you definitely won't see it in Discovery because we've already talked about how they seem to distance themselves from the military as much as possible with this show, which I, absolutely hate. I mean, this show's steeped in naval tradition, and it's ridiculous to not acknowledge it.
Anyway, that's how I would say they would get to that fast. They have the military hustle, they march fast.
Yeah, but I mean, like we already talked about how they don't walk anywhere. It's transporter this, that. And I mean, I guess, listen, they could do it in time. It just seemed like, we got 5 minutes and boom, all of a sudden everybody's there. The scene cuts and everybody's there. It just seems like 5 minutes would have already passed, or they would have had like literally a minute to talk about it, is what I'm getting at. So they decided little is lost by letting her go, and they have a head start. So, they'll just kind of deal with it. And Booker isn't happy. So, whatever. Who cares if he's happy or not? This is his family. It's what she wanted anyway. What is it? I don't know why he's mad at them. It's what she wants. They technically have a right to prosecute her, the Breen, before the Federation. So I don't think he really has a leg to stand on. In the end, Burnham, Rayner, Stamets, Tilly, and Tal show the latest. I don't know what the hell I wrote there.
I guess it's supposed to be Babel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they share the latest babble. Yeah, it's like techno, but that's what I was trying to write. They show the latest techno babble and whatever, where they need to go. The next clue, they were just doing all their talk. And you know how they do, man. They got to tell us. It's all exposition.
That's what I was going to say, the closing exposition.
Closing exposition. When we find out they need to go to the Badlands, which is a classic place that we know very well. It's been in Deep Space Nine. It's been
Voyager.
In the movies. Yeah, Voyager. The movies. What was it? 8, Picard's Erection. That was a good one. Yep. So
it started in the Badlands.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly where they started their whole deal at. So they couldn't end though without a little rah-rah from Burnham to Rayner, and her telling him how awesome it was that he stepped up and
good job, senior citizen.
Yeah, shared all that information about the Breen like it was so tough. Come on, man. And they go to Black Alert, and boom, scene. We're done with episode 7.
Yeah. It absolutely makes me racist, but every time I hear Black Alert, I raise my arm, It does. It absolutely makes me racist. It makes me smile. I like it. It's a good thing. If you ever seen Undercover Brother, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about.
Black Alert.
No, he does solid, and he holds his hand up, solid. So every time I see it on the screen, every time I hear Black Alert, I look at the wife, I smile, and I hold my hand up, and I go, Black alert.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible, and I'm sorry for it, but it does make me smile.
Oh
It
man,
is-
I mean, you know,
It's my kindness to the show is the one thing about the show I can always remember every week. Black
yeah,
alert.
right. So, you know, Joel, I don't know if you've seen the episodes we do of these recaps and stuff, but generally we give it kind of a star rating. You haven't seen the
I
episode,
haven't seen it.
obviously.
It's not fair.
Yeah, so um, uh, I think this one's. I mean, it's at least a 3. I'll say 3.5. I mean, it wasn't a terrible episode. It was definitely way better than last week's episode, which
I would agree.
Dick.
I would probably only go 3 personally.
Okay.
Mainly just for the eye candy we get, you know, the ship, the hologram, some of the other stuff. But again, the writing is the same it's been the whole season. We're seeing the same performances from the same people.
Is this out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 10, he
We're
said.
going
Oh, whoa, sorry. Yeah,
out
5.
of 5, I thought.
Yeah, no, I thought he was
saying,
asking
you guys
something
rating
else.
it low if it's out of 10.
Yeah.
It must be really bad. I'll give him some. You know, I haven't seen the episode, but since you've talked about continuity errors and
Right.
you've talked about mishandling the script as far as foreshadowing and I think Picard and the Romulans to me is the only Mexican standoff ever. That was one about the neutral zone
Right.
and it was oh my God, what the hell was it? The Defector. It was the
Yeah, the
defecting
Defector.
Romulan. God
I just
almighty,
watched
that amazing episode was the best Mexican standoff I think I've ever seen. So I'm going to go ahead and if it's out of 5 and you've already given it 1, 2, you've given it 3 negatives, I give it a 2-star, and I haven't even seen it yet. But I'm still going to watch it. But you've knocked off at least 3 stars for me because you're I don't know. It's like Calvin pissing on an episode. You know, I don't know how to say it. You know,
Well, I'll be interested to find out next week, either in the podcast later this week or in next week's episode when we do episode 8, whether or not you change your star. Brian, help me remember to ask
2
him
out of
that.
5 is what you got
Okay.
for me, and I'll check it out. We'll see if it gains or loses.
Yeah, because
I
I
also
gave.
kind of feel like there's been a bell curve that's been affecting my judgment on these episodes as well. Just like I know not to expect, like nothing's going to get 5 stars, right? None of these are getting 5 stars.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm being a little bit more generous in the middling of these episodes.
You know, the only way they could get 5 stars is on the very last episode. They might get 5 if they just go out, and I'm just so happy to see the back end of them that is just 5 stars. You're gone. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean,
Give them their flowers.
I don't because it's going to be bad. I mean, no matter what I say or what I do, it's bad. But about this part, but on them, not as like a whole, but I'll just say it, man. The whole show itself, I give a complete suspension of disbelief as much as possible because I enjoy Star Trek. I enjoy the IP. I give it as much as I possibly can.
Sure.
I have pretty much lost that with Doctor Who, and I don't want to open that can of worms.
We will open it later. I mean,
you're welcome
on
to.
Friday.
I've got
On
the first
Friday.
2 episodes I've got the Babies in Space episode. I've got the other one. I haven't watched them yet. I'm gonna.
Okay.
And the wife
Watch them
is not
before
gonna-
Friday.
I know the wife is not going to watch them with me. I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I've been married 25 years now. Been with the wife 27 years, right? And I can tell you, I must have screwed up my wife badly because over the years, I've watched these shows degrade the way they have, and I did it. I know I did it. I made this comment here, or I made this comment there. I go, wow, look at that. The continuity's off. Wow, look at that. I stopped doing that about 4 or 5 years ago just to let her enjoy the show. Right?
Yeah.
She brought it up to me. She was like, this was, and I'm talking about that episode again. And here we are watching 10 forward, we're watching out the window, and she's like, didn't they? And I was like, yes, dear, they did, and she's seeing it. She's seeing that I'm ruining the movie for my wife. I'm ruining the TV show for my wife. I'm not even trying. I keep my mouth shut. I don't say nothing. Bam, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, that I've done this to you. And this is all products of film school. Yeah. And I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Well, you've just honed her, I mean, like she knows, she's got a discerning eye. maybe that she didn't have for, as much as she had before. Like you just really sharpened it for her.
You
Well, she
know,
was-
unless it was like really bad, like I think Lady Hawk had a bad scene, if I recall correctly, of light and dark, where the blending isn't done well. Unless it's really bad, it never bothered me until I started hanging out with this guy.
Yeah, see? I mean,
Yeah.
And then,
you
like
ruin
every
things for other
artifact,
people.
every whatever I see on a screen, I'm like, thanks.
No, but he's right though. I mean, he's absolutely right, and that's the way I am with the show. So you have to make no apologies to me for it. I think it's brilliant.
Well, I just, when you lose the suspension of disbelief, you have a hard time watching a scene.
Yeah,
Anything. And if you're paying attention too close, you catch way too much, and it just ruins everything for you.
right.
But there's some unforgivable things, and you've that's how you lose the stars in that rating I just told you. Writing has got to be on par. It's got to be. There are episodes I can reference that happened 30 years ago in my
Right.
head.
Yep.
Like I said, The Defector was an amazing episode. We wanted to
Yes.
see more of that Romulan at the time. We wanted to see more episodes with
And we did.
like this. We want to see this kind of thing. Now, given a Mexican standoff was a big deal with Tarantino and Jerry Bruckheimer and I mean all over. We all had Mexican standoffs at the end of all these movies, and it was a big thing. And I don't know if they got that from them back then, and whatever. And that maybe that's plagiarism or borrowing it. But the way you're talking about the Mexican standoff, that's kind of half-assed, lazy writing. It shouldn't have been that way. It should have been intense. If it was a Mexican standoff, it should have been intense. So
yeah, absolutely.
You're supposed to be able to feel the tension in it, right?
Yes. And if you can't, if you're not connected to any character, if your suspension of disbelief is totally shot, well, you might as well kiss the audience goodbye. I mean, you're going to lose the common man, that's for sure. And then you'll lose the fan when you don't honor canon. And then dude, I don't know what to say. I mean, if you start just going down that path, it's endless. That rabbit hole is deep, and you don't want to stick your head in.
That's right. Well, speaking of
Alice went.
Yeah. Speaking of losing the audience, it's about that time, guys. We're wrapping it up. So we'll see you guys around in a couple of days. We'll be back. We'll have Joel back on Friday for the podcast recording, and hopefully we can keep him with us all the time if he so desires. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes.
Really
we
gotta
thank
get
him
in on the Fallout stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So we thank him so much for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Thank
Most
you.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
You bring a perspective to this. Yeah, well, you bring that, but you bring his perspective to this, like you said, with your college background in film and television, and you know how much I love that too. I didn't go to school for it, but I'm steeped in all that knowledge. So I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing how things unfold in the future, because I really think that it's gonna be, like Brian said, a breath of fresh air for sure. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and remember, as always, be excellent to each other. And Brian, Joel, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace out, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.